Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. Long time in the making, an update to Frontier Digital Ventures. I planned to do this video about 3 months ago. Yes, it's taken me 3 months to do this particular video, and I did have to actually update a little bit because some of the information I had planned to use was now outdated. Now, I am excited about the potential future of this company. I think even the market has been excited about the potential future of this company, but they have to realize that potential future. They do have to do work. And when I say they, I'm talking about the management of this company, but I also like the management. I do have a bit of a history with the management. I don't know them personally or the CEO and founder personally, but I had invested in their previous company. And when that company was bought out by REA Group, they founded this company, and I've been following Frontier Digital Ventures ever since. So for about 7 years, and they haven't quite hit that really important inflection point of becoming profitable and cash flow positive, but they are close. They are very, very close. Yet the share price has fallen a lot over the past 2 years. So Frontier Digital Ventures is looking really interesting right now. Frontier Digital Ventures is an online marketplace, primarily in emerging markets, if not totally in emerging markets. So when you think about online marketplaces, we're talking about REA Group or realestate.com, car sales, Seek. Those are the three biggest companies in Australia, and they have done spectacularly well over the past, would say 15 to 20 years. Now, Frontier Digital Ventures was founded in May 2014 and listed on the ASX in August 2016. I'm fairly sure that was just after the company that I had invested in, and that was the Sean Di Gregorio's company, which was called Property. IPP Property. No, IP Property, because the ticker code was IPP. I'm pretty sure that company was taken out by REA Group in 2016. I totally forget when, but might have been just before August 2016. One of the largest shareholders of this company is Catcher Group with 10.4% holding. Now, one of the last times I did a video on this company was way back in November 2021. And at that point in time, the market cap of this company was 600 million. That was a share price of $1.77. So the market has always had a high opinion of the future potential of this company, as you can see by that market cap. Now the market cap of this company is 182 million at a share price of 42 cents. We're just going to have a look at the share price right now because I'm recording this video just after the close of trading on August the 7th. And Frontier Digital Ventures share price is 42 cents right now. That would have been embarrassing if the share price was 60 cents or 40 cents. Maybe not 40 cents, but 20 cents or something like that. But anyway, share price is 42 cents as I speak. And the ticker code of this company is FDV. What I'm going to do now is go through a couple of the company's Appendix 4Cs, focusing on their cash flows from operating activities, which is section 1. And in the next slide, I'll show you the most recent Appendix 4C. But in this particular slide, I'm going to go back 18 months to the last time I did a video on Frontier Digital Ventures. And the main thing I want to see is how this company has performed over the past 18 months. Now, 18 months ago, this company had receipts to customers of 13.4 million and were almost operating cash flow positive, only negative by 367,000. So I think the market might have been thinking that inflection point, the very important inflection point, was just around the corner. Now, in the September quarter 2021, they had 9 months of data, or information or numbers. And for the first 9 months of this financial year, $35 million of receipts and operating cash flow negative 3.8 million. Now, they had plenty of cash on hand, $17.2 million of cash on hand. And some of the reasons why that might have fallen by more than the operating activities outflow is because of financing, investing activities. Maybe they made some purchases. Now, Frontier Digital Ventures do a fair bit of acquiring, and they do raise capital and burn through cash because of that. So let's see how this company has progressed over the past 18 months. A couple of very important points as we look at the June quarter results for Frontier Digital Ventures. This is for financial year 23. This is the second quarter. So their financial year is the same as the calendar year. And things are moving in the right direction, business-wise. And you can't say the same thing about the share price. We'll have a look at the chart later in the video. So if you disassociate the share price performance and the financial performance of this company, they are doing different things right now. Frontier Digital Ventures financial performance is doing better. Share price doing worse. So don't look at the share price performance and have an opinion of a company of how they are performing financially. Because Frontier Digital Ventures receipts to customers in this quarter 16.5 million, for the 6 months to date 31.7 million, and the company is operating cash flow positive not only for the quarter but also for the first half of the year. And first half of the year 669,000. Now you might argue operating cash flow positive by 60,000. That's a fairly low amount, particularly when you look at the interest received, which was 88,000. Also interest and other costs, finance paid negative 178,000. They also paid taxes, $630,000. So I'm not sure why they're paying taxes if they're not profitable. But anyway, another thing I always look at is the cash on hand. What else are they spending money on? So at the beginning of the quarter, they had $26.8 million of cash. By the end of the quarter, 15.3 million. So a significant drainage in the cash during the quarter. The main reason behind that is acquisitions. So this company, as I mentioned before, is highly acquisitive, not meaning they're curious, that sort of thing, meaning they do like to acquire different assets from around the world. Now, to fund that, they did raise money and also spent some, or paid for that acquisition through some of the money they did on hand. So they raised $16.5 million of cash, but still, they have $15.3 million of cash for their business. So there's no concerns about this company in terms of cash on hand right now. They can continue going the path they are going without any worries about cash. So the only way I would start worrying about Frontier Digital Ventures is if they start really bleeding cash again like they were maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Now let's have a look at some of the performance of this company's assets. And they have assets all around the world in many different emerging markets in the world, including Latin America, Middle East, North Africa, and Asia. And they've separated the business into 3 different divisions based off geographical regions. So Latin America, or 360 LATAM, MENA Marketplaces Group, that's Middle East and North Africa, and FTV Asia should be self-explanatory. And they've also broken down the revenue, or analyze EBITDA, and cash flow, operating cash flow for each of these different divisions. And the most positive thing about all this information here is that all 3 of these divisions have positive analyzed EBITDA and positive operating cash flow. But by far, the biggest division is Latin America with $50.3 million of analyzed revenue, followed by FDV Asia with 16.7 million, and MENA Marketplaces Group with 9.5. But again, positive analyzed EBITDA and positive operating cash flow for all 3 divisions or segments. Now, one thing I have been following closely with Frontier Digital Ventures is what's been happening in Pakistan, because that's really relevant when it comes to one of their marketplaces called Zameen, which is a property marketplace in Pakistan. And things have been seriously whacked out in Pakistan over the past few years. But they do mention here, in this particular slide, in one of their presentations, that Pakistan did receive $4.5 billion worth of funding from the IMF. They also mention here that things are starting to improve in Pakistan. They actually state here, indicating signs of recovery for Zameen and lift in market sentiment. Maybe that's because of this IMF funding. Now, the reason why I'm focusing on Zameen is because in the second quarter 2023, Zameen revenue represented 13% of FDV Group revenue. So this is one of their biggest marketplaces, and the performance of Frontier Digital Ventures is going to be highly influenced from the performance of this particular marketplace. So if we have seen the worst of the conditions in Pakistan and things are now on the improve, there is a better chance that Frontier Digital Ventures financial performance will improve from here. And the very fact they are operating cash flow positive and analyze EBITDA positive, I think things are looking really good for this company. And the company has broken down their quarterly revenue by brand. So they call it brand, not marketplace. I'll just call it marketplace. And if I remember, I'll call it by brand. So they're broken down the different brands within each different geographic region. So 360 LATAM, MENA Marketplaces Group, and FDV Asia. They also have one called FDV Asia Associates. So by far, the majority of the revenue for this company actually comes out in the most recent quarter, comes from Infocasas, and that's in Latin America. And just behind that, there's another one in Latin America called Incentra 24. And then just behind that is another one in Latin America called Finsaraz. I'm going to completely botch up these pronunciations. And then following behind that, coming in fourth place, we have Zemin. Now, Zemin in 2022 was by far the biggest brand with $6.8 million of revenue. So you could just see the significant decrease in revenue in Zemin from 6.8 million to 2.5 million. And the whole reason why revenue for this company in the second quarter of 2023 is lower than 2022 was because of Zemin, because most of the other brands have seen revenue increasing. Not all of them, but most of them have. In fact, the greatest growth this company has seen has been in FDV Asia, with one of their brands increasing revenue by 71%, another one by 30%. We've seen some good growth in Middle East and North Africa. There's one brand here, Tayara, up 32%, and that is Centra 24, up 26% on 2022. Now onto the receipts history for Frontier Digital Ventures since they listed on the ASX. And this is something I've been doing for over 10 years. Not 10 years for Frontier Digital Ventures, but 10 years on the ASX. I've been tracking companies who release at quarterly reports, their cash receipts for that amount of time, because what I want to see with receipts or even revenue, if I am tracking a company's half year and yearly results, but I don't have to track those results because there are platforms who do it. There is no platform out there that tracks quarterly receipts. So I do it myself. And this profile we see with Frontier Digital Ventures is exactly what you want to see. Growth from the bottom left to the top right, just like a chart. So this company has grown their receipts from less than $1 million into September quarter 2016, all the way up to 16.5 million. There have been periods of time where this company has seen significant growth, particularly post-COVID-19. So there was a massive drop in receipts, and then it climbed significantly from the June quarter, 2.4 million, up through to, say, the middle of 2022, where the receipts got above 15 million. Now, you might argue receipts are struggling to climb right now. They're sort of going sideways over the last 4 quarters, and I think that's because of what's been happening in Pakistan. And the most recent quarter was equal record quarter with $16.5 million of receipts. So I would expect receipts to grow, maybe not significantly, but definitely grow from here up towards $20 million a quarter, which hopefully, and I expect it to be achieved within the next 2 years. One thing I am looking for in all companies is management of these companies to be aware that operating cash flow, free cash flow, and profitability are really important. Now, a few years ago, it was all about growth in revenue. That's all they wanted, or seems like that's all management wanted, and they just discarded any sort of growth in free cash flow or profitability. Things have changed. Now, management have to be aware that what the market wants now is profits. They want profits and free cash flow. So the very fact that they've included this, a look at the company's quarterly net operating cash flows over the past few years, in fact, the last 2 and a bit years, and the very fact that this net company is now operating cash flow positive, 2 quarters of that in a row, is a good sign that things are moving in the right direction for this company, not only in terms of growth in operating cash flow, but the very fact that management is focused on this particular thing. Another thing the company showed to the world in their presentation is how the company is right now compared to its IPO in August 2016. So we're talking about 7 years ago, and I do have a little bit of a beef with the company around this because they are trying to show the market that the share price has gone down from 50 cents to 45 cents. But you look at revenue, EBITDA margin, and cash flow, everything is looking really good, comparatively speaking, to August 2016. The only thing I did not include in this is the amount of shares, or how the amount of shares have increased over the past 7 years. But I will sort of show that in the next few slides. So in 2000, when they IPO'd, they had revenue of 3.8 million. Now it's 76.5 million annualized. EBITDA negative by $3 million at the IPO. Now it's positive 6.7 million. EBITDA margin, negative 79%. Now it's positive 9%. Cash flow positive, no. Back when they IPO'd, now it's positive. And they also put a change. And some of these changes look very impressive. 1,920% change in revenue, 88% change in EBITDA margin, and $9.7 million change in EBITDA. But the share price has gone down by 11%. That does not mean the valuation of this company has gone down 11%, because shares on issue have increased significantly over the past 7 years. So I did the work myself. I actually looked at shares on issue just to see how that has impacted the valuation of this company. And it has had an impact, because shares on issue have almost, actually more than tripled since 2016. So you can't really say share price has decreased 5 cents, which means the valuation of this company has also decreased. No, the valuation of this company has increased significantly. Now, what I've included in this particular chart is shares outstanding, the Frontier Digital Ventures share price, which is in the blue, and in the red is the market cap. So typically, the market cap and the price should mirror each other, sort of. If the company is issuing more shares and more shares, they sort of will mirror each other in their movements, but eventually you'll see that the market cap will go up more significantly than the share price. And we see that with Frontier Digital Ventures, particularly after 2020, when we started to see the market cap really roar up higher and actually catch up to the share price. So at one point in time, the market cap of this company was over $600 million back in 2021. At its lowest point was not that long ago, when the share price of this company was, or the market cap of this company was $120 million. Exactly the same as it was in 2019. And in fact, when this company did IPO, the market cap of Frontier Digital Ventures was actually less than $100 million. So even though share price has decreased from when it IPO'd, the market cap has actually increased. In fact, it's about doubled, more than doubled. It probably should have tripled since it IPO'd. So let's have a look at some charts for Frontier Digital Ventures. And this is the weekly chart. I think it's a weekly chart. Yep, the weekly chart from when the company listed on the ASX. And really, to be fair with you, there was a little bit of, won't say hype in this company back in 2017. Share price, though, did increase from about 44 cents up to about 76 cents. And then that hype died away in late 2018, early 2019. But then just prior to the COVID-19 financial panic, there started to be an increased interest in this company. We can see that increased interest by the share price actually going higher, alongside volume going higher as well. Now, back in 2017, when the share price actually was rising, we did not see an appreciable increase in volume. So you need to see that volume increasing. You need to see those fund managers coming in, becoming excited about the company. And that excitement, apart from the brief drawdown during COVID-19 financial panic, continued into late 2020 and into 2021. Share price actually did reach a high in early 2021. Share price almost, it actually did get above $2 for a brief period in 1 week. And then the share price moved into a downtrend in early 2022, which is understandable. That's when we started to see all those tech companies, particularly non-profitable tech companies, move into down trends. At that point in time, the share price of this company was around $1.50. So Frontier Digital Ventures share price has fallen from $1.50 all the way down to 42 cents. So that means like a 67, 70% decrease in the share price of this company. However, the company is actually performing better now than it was back then. So you can just see how important it is to detach the share price performance from the financial performance of the company, because in this case, there is a big difference between the two. As I turn our attention, or my attention, to the daily chart for the company, this is going back to October 2021. And the main thing to note when you look at the daily chart is that FDV's share price is in a long-term downtrend. That downtrend started in January 2022, and there's no end in sight just yet. Now, for those who, I don't think I've ever talked about these two lines I've got here, or these two areas I've got here. One is portraying the long-term trend, and the other one is portraying the shorter-term trend. So the longer-term trend in this particular case is that shaded red area on top. The shorter-term trend is that shaded area below that. And you can sometimes see that the shorter-term trend turns to green. That is possibly telling us that there might be a shift in the shorter-term sentiment of this company. But what you want to see is both these areas green. That is telling us that the long-term trend is positive, the shorter-term trend is positive as well. So the first thing I'm looking for here is a shift in the shorter-term trend in Frontier Digital Ventures. And we are right at that point right now. However, in saying that, we have seen the same thing happen twice since January 2022. The first time was in August of last year. Second time was in January, February of this year. And both those rallies in the share price failed. As soon as the share price got into the longer term trend, we saw the share price pull back. And right now, the share price is nowhere near, well, we shouldn't say nowhere near the long-term trend. The long-term trend starts around 50 cents. Share price of Frontier Digital Ventures is 42 cents. So what I need to see a shift in sentiment, and that shift in sentiment is portrayed by these colored shaded in areas. I want to see both these green at least for me to confirm that there is a shift in sentiment, that there is a shift in the trend of the share price of this company, and there's no sign of that just yet. Now, in saying all that, I am fairly confident that if the share price falls significantly lower than it is now, there will be a lot of participants in the market who will see value. Because if this company can prove to the market that they can, or they have hit that inflection point of becoming profitable and free cash flow positive, if they can show that to the market, I think that there will be value investors coming in saying that there's some value here for this company, particularly if they keep the faith that there is a lot of potential of this company in the future. That's all I have for this quarterly update for Frontier Digital Ventures, 3 months in the making. If you do have any questions about this company, if you're a shareholder, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Frontier Digital Ventures. And I should probably foreclose right now. I actually have taken a small position in this company. I think possibly the low has been reached. Now, if the low hasn't been reached, I will add to my position because, again, I think this company has almost reached that inflection point. Maybe I should have waited for confirmation that it has hit that inflection point before I start buying shares. But I think there's a good chance it's hit that inflection point. So even though the chart looks bearish, I'm sort of ignoring the chart for this company just because of the future potential of Frontier Digital Ventures. So if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.